Welcome to the first episode of learning how to create GUIs inside Roblox Studio. Let's begin by first understanding what a GUI is. GUI is essentially a graphical user interface. For example, you see here +1 coin. This is a GUI. This is literally a text button that we see on the screen of the player. The leaderboard here is exactly the same. It's a GUI where we see the coins of the player, the name of the player. Everything you see here, like this menu, are called GUIs. This is the things that the player sees, and it's usually in the form of buttons, text, and menus. And today we're going to begin by understanding how we can create that. Of course, if you want to learn more, jump into the first link in the description to access the Roblox Development Bible. This is what I have created for you, so I can guide you into learning Roblox and also having material to go back to and understand the complex topics again and again. This is literally a free book that I offer to you, and every single week I update it with new things. So I added this intro to GUI section, and you can jump in there to review today's video. So let's begin, guys. Let's begin by understanding how to create this GUI and how to use it. So first thing first, we want to jump into the Explorer, and you are going to find the folder that is said Starter GUI. This is a special folder. Anything you place there is copied to each player's player GUI when they join. So here you essentially create a template that each player will get as a copy when they join the game. So that's what we are going to be using to develop our GUI. And the first thing that you need to understand is that anything you place here will not be visible unless you use what is called a ScreenGUI element. So click the plus button and you are going to find ScreenGUI. This is a container where anything you want to display needs to be a child of it. So if you don't put the elements like buttons, images, text inside the ScreenGUI, it's not going to be visible to the player. So the first thing that we always need to have is a ScreenGUI. And for demonstration purposes, what we're going to do is we're going to add a text label inside the ScreenGUI. Okay, so we can see here that we can find the label. We can click on it and move it around, and this is very useful to position them and test them out. You just have to select the text label and then you can move it around on Roblox Studio viewport. So let's test this out. Does the player actually get this folder copy over and they can see the GUI? So let's click play. So when we click play, what happens is that this ScreenGUI and the starter GUI gets copied over to the player. So if we open up players, we can see our player here, and they have a player GUI property. Inside it, we see free camera, we see ScreenGUI, and this add GUI, which is something that I have created in the past. You don't have to worry about it. This is just a plus icon here. So inside here, we can find the text label. It's very important. If you do changes in the starter GUI template, the changes will not be reflected while you play the game. To view the changes, you need to use the player GUI that is inside the player's folder during runtime. Okay, so this is essentially the template you create that when the player gets into the server, gets copied over. So this is two distinct things. This is the development part, and this is the actual part that runs. So let's stop the game, and what I want to show you is that there are a lot of different properties for ScreenGUI. There is enabled, so this is clicked by default. It means that this GUI will be enabled, the user will be able to see it by default. This is very important to understand because a lot of GUIs you don't want to show by default. For example, you may have a shop menu. You only want to show the menu of the shop when the player has gone to an NPC and clicked the button. So a lot of the GUIs, and specifically ScreenGUIs you are going to create, will be by default non-enabled. There is also this ignore GUI inset. By default, Roblox on the top side of the screen has a predefined GUI of its own, like the menus and the leaderboards. By clicking off the ignore GUI inset, this means that your GUI will be placed below that. For example, let's take this text label and put it over here. By having the ScreenGUI without the ignore GUI inset, see what will happen. Just check how this label will shift downwards. We click play and boom, the label is not on top. There is a specific line here, you can imagine it, where everything that we place will be put below it because, for example, there are these menus that Roblox opens and it has predefined the space here. Let's see what happens when we actually click this option. See the difference. Boom, our label is right on top. It ignores this offset for the GUI of Roblox. So that's a very good, powerful setting that you may want to use sometimes, you may not want to use it some other times, it's all up to you. Now there is another one that is reset on spawn. When you have this selected, the GUI will reset every time the player dies. However, when the player dies and this is not selected, the GUI will not show up again. So this is also a very important property. Probably menus, when the player dies, you want to probably close them. You don't want to leave them open by default. So make sure to remember the setting when you make menus like shop menus or I don't know, whatever menus you have. You may want to have this off by default. Finally, there is this display order setting. So what we're going to do is we're going to duplicate this ScreenGUI, and what we're going to do is we're going to see two text labels, all right? So what we're going to do is we're going to put a background color of red for this one, just to show you how to set display order. So it's very simple. Display order tells us which element will be shown on top of which. It gives order to essentially what's more important to show to the user if multiple of these boxes or if these ScreenGUIs are opened up. Okay, so the higher the number, the higher the order. So if this is 1 and this is 2, we can see that the red will be on top of the white because ScreenGUI that holds the text label with the red background has a higher display order. And this is pretty much all you need to understand at this point. One thing that I want to tell you also is that you can actually create ScreenGUIs just by scripting. However, I would suggest that you don't do it, especially if you make a very big game or a very simple game, because it complicates and it will make you write so much code unnecessarily. So me, personally, I would avoid it, especially if you're a beginner, all right? Because you will have to write so many scripts for the GUI, it becomes very difficult to test it out, very difficult to position it. Just look here how to set the position. Like, it's very complicated. It's very, very slow. So I would suggest that you avoid it. I want to leave you a learning objective for the next video, which is to create a custom health bar. Try to make this health bar using a ScreenGUI, add a frame, you can add another frame, and just follow here the tips and check out what happens. You could even write a local script just to test things out, and try to set response equals to false. So when the player dies, the script changes after responding. Okay, so try it out and let me know what you think. You can even put the script you wrote down below in the comments so I can check it out and give you some feedback. Make sure to subscribe to not miss out on the next video on Roblox GUIs.